What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be on my SCX6 and I'm going to show you guys how to make a sway bar that you can use with the stock rear axle. Vidovon makes a sway bar for this, but you can only use it with, or at least they say you can only use it with the Vidovon axle. Having done this, I'm questioning that. I think there is a way to mount it to the rear axle that could work, but either way, that is a pretty pricey upgrade, and I'm not completely sold on adding a sway bar to this. This is really just an experiment. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do one like really cheap. I'm talking $10 sway bar kit and maybe like another $10, $15 in various parts you can find on Amazon or probably even at your local hobby shop to make this work. And I'm going to be doing some testing here. I'm going to do some testing right here. I have my ramp set up as an incline. I'm going to be trying an experiment with the sway bar connected and with it disconnected just to see how it affects the front wheel lifting on a climb. And then I'm going to take it out into the trails and same thing. I'm going to do a couple tests, do a few really challenging lines with the sway bar disconnected and then connect it and try it again and just see, you know, kind of play around and see what it does. I think it's going to be a really good upgrade for this vehicle based mainly on the weight of this thing. And I think, you know, the key word for this whole entire experiment is really balance. It's trying to get the best balance to the to the entire vehicle, the way it performs front to rear and left to right, and also predictability. If you have good balance on a vehicle, you're going to have excellent control, and it's going to make it way more predictable, so that when you are looking to conquer some really crazy line, like a crazy rock crawl line, you know what the vehicle is capable of and you know what it can do, and it also gives you a little bit of a warning before it just completely flips over and comes crashing back down on you. But yeah, let me get you guys in here and I'm going to show you this. I will leave links down below to the sway bar. Like I said, I've seen them online for like 10 bucks. It's basically, it's like a Chinese made sway bar for an axial bomber. That'll get you almost everything you need. You're gonna need some little like metal collars that kind of lock the sway bar in place. You're gonna need some 80 millimeter turnbuckle links because the kit comes with really short ones. You can use the rod ends that come in the kit. And you're going to need like some M3 by 25 screws and then just a nut. If you buy a screw kit, most of the time they come with M3 nuts. I prefer the locking, like nylock style nuts, and I'm going to show you exactly where those go. Okay, so let's just start from the back here, right? You'll see that I have my little link rods here, turnbuckle rods, going from the axle up to the end of the sway bar arm here. Now these, you'll see there's a curve in these. I just happen to have these. I think these were panhard bars for like an axial or something. They just kind of, whatever. I mean, they were the right length, so I grabbed them and they fit. It was just the easiest thing. I had two matching ones, so perfect, right? But what I'm gonna link to in the kit is just gonna be a straight arm. It should be no problem because you do have this bottom kind of a pivot rod here, the rod end on a pivot ball, and it's just gonna, you have enough flex out of these to run this on a bit of an angle, right? These have to be further out so they don't hit the shock here, but let me show you on the bottom here. So the axle, if you can see it, the axle down here does have a slot that runs up and down in this spot, and it's actually the exact size to thread in an M3 screw, right? But you definitely want to put, I'll get you in here even closer in a minute. I'll show you the other side. You want to put a nut on the other side because just threading into this plastic slot is not going to be enough to really hold it. It's fairly secure. So I would say thread this in. It's easier if you remove the shock to get to the other side, but thread this through. You need an M25, goes all the way through, and then you throw a nut on the other side to lock this in place. And this is plenty strong. This is a very thick axle brace here, and there's not a ton of force going into this thing, guys. It's not going to affect any structural integrity of the axle, right? I didn't drill any hole, I didn't make any hole bigger. It's literally just going right through the slot that was pre-existing, right? Now, let me turn this to the side here so you can see the business end here, right? So this comes in the kit. You're gonna be using this arm that comes in the kit. The screw comes with it, you know, the nut for the backside. These rod ends, top and bottom, come in the kit. So you're really just replacing these turnbuckles here, you need 80 millimeters. And then the rod that actually connects these two arms is where, like I mentioned earlier, you need that 3mm stainless rod there, right? And then there's a set screw that goes in the end of the arm here and locks it onto this rod. So what you need to do as well, once you get everything set, is, let me see if I can find one here. You'll see I just cut a little right here. Come on, focus. You'll see I just cut a little with the Dremel. It's not really focusing. Come on. There we go. You'll see I just made like a little notch just for that set screw to set into, because there is a decent amount of torsional force on this, and you don't want that to slip, right? It's just a set screw. So the easiest way to do it, when you put this together, if you crank in the set screw, get everything set up like side to side and lined up, and I'll show you from the top how that looks. Crank this set screw in and out a few times, and it's going to make an impression. It's gonna leave a little mark on here. And then if you take a Dremel, like what I use, to cut, just a cutoff wheel, just to cut the stainless rod. I mean, you could do it. If you have like a hacksaw, you can make this work, right? And then you could just use like a little file, probably even a hacksaw blade. You could just make a groove in there. So yeah, so anyway, we have our sway bar here, right? And let me turn it this way. Before I do like a top view, let me just show you, yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna show you guys here. And it's not a gigantic noticeable difference, so I hope it picks it up on camera. If I just lift the front of this truck up, right? Everything is connected, right? And it's definitely noticeable, like when I do this, I'm grabbing the front bumper here and I'm just twisting it without much force, and I could really feel when it gets to about here, right? I have about another 1/4 inch of shock travel before it bottoms out, but when I get to about here, I start noticing, especially if I do this back to back really quick with it disconnected and then reconnected, I start noticing the sway bar really starts to add a lot more pressure to the compressing shock when it gets to this angle, which is exactly what you want. So if you're climbing something and you're lifting the front wheel up, and this was another quick test I did, like just when I lift the one front wheel, how much this shock compresses before the other tire lifts. And it does kind of limit it by like a couple millimeters, right? With the sway bar connected, this tire will lift a few millimeters earlier in terms of shock compression. So it's definitely working, right? And as I mentioned earlier, the sway bar, this truck is so freaking massive. It's hard to like get it all on frame here. But you'll see here, see how it has 3 different positions? The closer the links mount to the sway bar, the stiffer this is gonna be. So if you wanted to make this a little less effective, like a little less of the sway bar effect, you can run it in the middle hole or the outer hole. So right now, I have it maxed out because I really want to see the biggest difference initially, just so I could see if it's worth continuing on with this. But so let's look at the top here, what I did. This sway bar, I just ran through the shock tower. I mean, how easy is that? There's there's like 3 open holes in the front of this. And don't laugh, but what this is, this little spacer in here, I gotta grab one to show you, but this is actually like, you could use you can use one of these, like a plastic wall anchor, and I literally just cut this end off and just jam it in a hole, and it has a spacer. I had these white ones that were they're a little bit tighter fitting. They were from like a closet-made shelving system that had like a expandable nail insert. I cut those out. There's a little bit of play. I might search around for something that fits a little bit tighter. It's not a huge deal. These little locking collars do not come with the sway bar. You're gonna have to buy those. I'll put a link online too. They're just whatever, 3mm, or they might even be like an SAE size. They have a little space, but I'll find a link for something like this. You just need that to lock this in place so it doesn't shift and that way. And then you want to position, so you could do this long, these rods, there they are. They're really long, you cut these down. So you could leave it really long, or just, fix it up on one side, fix everything here so you get just enough clearance with the shock, and then just line everything up, and then just mark it and trim it, or whatever. Put like a paper towel under it and trim it while it's on the truck. But yeah, so that's all these are, and it goes through, and it's completely you know, stiff enough. The whole shock tower and stuff is stiff enough for everything to work. So it actually works like really nice. And you'll see I have just enough. I don't think I can compress this. It's hard to, let me just do it this way. Oh, that works. You can kind of see there's enough clearance there. Nothing rubs. So it's good, it's working. And like I said, it's tunable here. So yeah, let me get this on the ramp here, the giant carpeted ramp. You know, that, pay no attention to that. That's the old name of the building where I work. And the floor mat was being thrown out. I didn't pilfer it. But this is my ramp. I had to keep stacking this stuff under it to make this thing high enough to really get a good angle. Like I said, I think it's at like 60 something degrees, but I got to throw the body back on this. I think it's going to make a big difference with climbing. So what I did, guys, I just loosened the set screw on this arm. So it's just loosey-goosey on the shaft there. It's not actually going to be moving. This thing moves completely independent of the other arm. And it's odd, you could even feel the difference just doing this with it connected and disconnected. So let's send it up the ramp here and let's see what results we get. And I think I'm just gonna mark, if I get to a point where it really can't do it or the front wheel is lifting, I'm gonna mark it, connect this, and then do it again. Okay, very high-tech anti-sway bar tester 9000 coming up here. Let's just see. All right, so see right there. Let me try to get a better angle here. Get a bunch of crap out of the way. Let's just see. So I'm going up on kind of an angle here to simulate, you know, rock rolling and try to really get it. So right there, I definitely got some tire lifting going on. Let me try to kind of take the same. See, I'm starting to go off. Again, this truck is so big. I try to really start on this side, cut over. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard to really duplicate the exact path every time. But it's kind of right there. Let me tape here. I think that's where it was. Let's try that. Let's see if that works. I'll get you guys in here a little bit. I mean, technically, the tire is kind of real. It's about like a 1/4 inch. Let me try to really drive up right on this tape mark and then start cutting over. And yeah, right where that tire starts to approach that tape, if we cut hard right, it's starting to lift that front end right there, right? We'll just see what happens, just for the heck of it. What happens if I try going up higher, if we can make it to the top. I mean, that's really, you'll see, that's some really severe tire. I mean, you could see that back inside corner squishing down there pretty good. I mean, that's gonna happen no matter what. But let's connect this sway bar now. I feel like I got enough of a, man, I'm just gonna knock everything down with this truck. I feel like I got enough of a visual on this to see what happens. So, sway bar connected. Fingers crossed that this wasn't a giant waste of time. I'm a little too far out where, hold on, let me back it up. I feel like there was promise already. I think I just made it past the tape already, but I couldn't see where the tape is. So we're gonna get it, we're approaching the tape mark. And that front wheel, you can see I'm right on the tape mark. I didn't touch anything. I didn't move the camera, nothing. It's not lifting. It is not lifting. I'm gonna try it again. We're gonna cut over. I'm actually like ripping the tape off of, but it's still in the same spot. That front tire is still planted, right? Let me see what happens now if I go to the top of the ramp like we did before. It's interesting. don't know what, was I just going slower before? I mean, it's weird now how it seems like, are the tires slipping more? I don't see how going straight up would make a difference, but I mean, guys, so this is, I'm at the top of the ramp. I can't like move the camera here a little bit, but I'm at the top of the ramp. I am full to the right, and you can see that front tire. Let me see if I can angle this up without, there we go. That front tire right now, like they're kind of, that one is just lifting right there. That front tire is lifting there, equivalent amount of when, with the sway bar disconnected, that it was lifting when the rear tire was way back there. So I think this is absolute proof that, at least proof of concept, that I'm gonna continue messing with this, because I can do this one more time. But I mean, before I was almost worried that this thing was going to roll. That front tire was definitely way higher in the air, you know? It's, oh, I mean, I think I'm coming off the side of the ramp there, honestly. And that was like an abrupt, I didn't try that before. I don't think I had the nerve to try that before. That, you know, I mean, it's loosening one screw. I am just curious to see, like, yeah, if I go slow, I don't know. I think when that thing was hopping before, just to prove I can do it, I mean, if I slow crawl, that I'm over the top. You know, I had made it over the top there. Look how cool the tires look though. That's the anti-foam going to work there. Here we go again. I just didn't move the tape. I just jammed it down a little bit because it was really pulling up. Disconnected sway bar, test 2. We're gonna get to here, cut hard right, and that front tire is definitely lifting way. I mean, let's do it again, just for the heck of it. We get to about the tape, cut hard right, and I'm already seeing that front bouncing up and down. All right, for one thing, let's do this first. Let's just do a slow call straight up. The sway bar should have, I mean, hold on here. If this can't go straight up, even slow crawling, I mean, you could see from the torque twist, that's another thing that is occurring to me at the moment that I wasn't even thinking of. I think in terms of torque twist, as just a sudden acceleration where you get that like twist to the right. I completely forgot that you get as good amount of torque twist just literally from slow crawling up. And you could see, now I'm gonna connect the sway bar again and really pay attention to this. So it made it up, right? But you can see this front driver tire is struggling to maintain traction if I just do a slow crawl up this ramp, right? And I apologize, this is gonna be a fairly long video, guys. So it's crawling, but you're not getting, I mean, this front driver's side tire is like in the air for the last quarter of the ramp. Okay, so sway bar connected, reconnected, and we're gonna just do a very slow crawl. Pay attention to this front. I mean, I'm getting this hop going. So I think it's just a matter of finding just the right speed where we don't get this hop. I mean, I can see already that it's hopping. So I wonder if like there's a difference with the sway bar connected because of the way it's pressuring all 4 wheels. I mean, you can see right there, that front driver's side is way more planted with the sway bar connected. It's odd though that it tends to get a little more hop, and I'm wondering if it's because because it's not getting that torque twist and all four wheels are trying to grip, is it making the front start to hop? I mean, if you just go slow enough, you can kind of counteract that. And again, this is kind of an odd surface with the carpet where you're getting like this slip and grip kind of, you know, it's like grippy, but then it's not grippy at the same, I don't know. It's like a weird, it's not a natural surface you're going to be crawling on. But I mean, as far as the torque twist, it kind of really isn't there. You know, let me see, I'm curious. I mean, it's light. This front corner is very light, but it's not, you know, you could see with it disconnected, that thing was 3/4 of an inch in the air, like for the whole top section of the ramp. So let me get back to the table here. Okay, so here we're gonna do an RTI test, which is a ramp travel index. Very fancy, I know, but this is what they do with full-size trucks. So I'm gonna drive up this until you can see right there, see how this rear wheel is starting. I can't really show you guys, but you can see how that's starting to float. That's pretty much just about leaving the ground right there. And then I'm gonna go up and mark, I think I'll put another piece of tape on this side and I'll mark it. So this is sway bar connected. So technically, with it disconnected, I should be able to get that front wheel up even higher before this rear wheel lifts. But we're gonna see how much further and if it really makes a difference. But as you can see, sway bar connected, I'm still really, I mean, I don't think I can compress more. I'm gonna give it a shot of this front shock here in a second. I don't think I can compress very much more. In fact, let's do it right now so you know I don't have any camera trickery going on, but we can see here, that is just about to float. Let's just see, I don't know that we can really see. No, there's no way to really see in there, but it's compressed. I mean, that is pretty much, I can't compress this anymore. So it's not, the rear sway bar is not limiting the front articulation really at all. Okay, sway bar disconnected. I'm just keeping the tire right on the edge of that. And a side rail there, a little bump out. So you can see on that wider piece of tape, I mean, front is flexed equally. I mean, that's still down there. Let's go a little higher. Oop. That's a little heavier still. And so right about there, it's starting to get, right about there, it's starting to get a little lighter. And let's go up and look at the front. So I'd say this is about, you know, oh, too far. So you can see it's definitely, I feel like that's about where the other one was, right? Where it's just barely making contact with the ground, but a tiny bit of bouncing and you can lift it off the ground. So let's look straight down at the mark now and see how much further. So what this would translate to out on the trail, I don't know. I mean, the center line of this, I mean, it's probably, if you look straight down on it, it's probably like here. So it might be like half an inch, if that, you know. So it's not a gigantic difference. Again, this is still fully flexed out. So yeah, again, so it's basically, it limits the articulation to tiny. My final thoughts, guys. I don't know, this video is probably gonna be pretty long, but hopefully you stayed through it. Thank you if you did. If you like this kind of content, definitely please subscribe. It lets me know you guys are out there, gets my videos seen, gives me motivation to do more videos. It's not like I'm making a ton of money. you know, a couple bucks here and there off these videos. I do it just for fun. I love talking about this stuff. And quite frankly, you guys are the only ones who are going to sit here and listen to me for this long. So it's better than sitting here by myself and talking to myself, which I'm not opposed to. It's been known to happen. I think this shows huge potential in being beneficial, more than hurting any performance. On top of that, I think I want to make these side plates silver. I think I'm going to take these off and just sand down the side plates just to make it a little more blingy. And it'll be cool. It'll match the shocks with the silver and black, but mainly because I like to see these move. You know, call me a geek, a nerd, whatever, suspension geek. I like seeing all this stuff in action, and that's one thing I love about RC rock crawlers in particular over any other genre of RCing, is that it happens at such a slow pace, and so it's so up close that you can appreciate all of the things that are happening on the vehicle. Like right, you can be like this close with your controller, watching your suspension move and watching each lug of the tire grip the terrain and the sound of it and everything. I love that it happens right in front of your face, and you could appreciate all of the cool things about RC, as opposed to like a basher where you're like, there's my car, and now it's broken. I don't know, like, and especially for making videos and stuff, and checking how, watching how the vehicle moves and stuff. I really love rock crawlers for that reason. But for that reason alone, what I was getting to is that I think the sway bar just looks really cool. You know, you could see it moving up and down and twisting and stuff. And even like on my UDR, a lot of times I get shots where you could see the rear sway bar just kind of kicking up and down. And I think it's really cool. I just think it adds a whole other element of kind of realism and scale detail that I really like. And I think it's super cool on the honcho in particular, because this is all exposed. So I think if I kind of make these silver on the side, I think especially for like video and seeing actually how much they're moving, I think that's going to be cool. I think I'm going to pull that apart right now and do that before I run it. But anyway, guys, stay tuned. Like I said, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'd really appreciate it. And give me a thumbs up. Comments if you think this is a stupid idea for whatever reason. If you went down this path and you have some tips, or you figured it's not worth it, let me know. If you haven't considered doing this and you want some more information, let me know. I'm definitely going to, I always say I'm gonna like leave links and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I forgot, but I will definitely put links to the sway bar itself. I'll find some 80 mil turnbuckles you guys can purchase, and the little collars and the steel rod. I honestly think you can put this whole thing together for about 30 bucks. And you need the longer M3 by 25 screws and on the bottom too. So it's easy. I mean, you saw it's a pretty basic thing to do. I think you guys can do it. And yeah, at the very least, it looks cool. So what else is more important than that? Yeah, guys, thanks. Catch you in the next video. Later.
Oh yeah, how cool does that look now? Much, much better. Definitely picks it up way better on camera. Yeah, that looks really cool. Matches the shock. Yeah, all I did was take this off, put this face down onto the table here with some fine grit sandpaper, and just go back and forth. And yeah, looks really cool. That's it, guys. Later.